Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Dark Powerrr. Thanks for joining us. We are covering today AEW Dark, Impact Wrestling, and Episode 2 of Primetime Live, the collaboration between the United Wrestling Network and the NWA. But before we get started, guys, please remember, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure, if you like what we're doing, or you feel differently or strongly about a certain match or how something's happening on Impact or Dark or UWN, we'd love to hear your comments. Let's jump straight into it, and we're going to start off with Dark. Dark had a number of matches, roughly the same number as last week, about an hour and a half show, starting off with the Dark Order up against Fuego del Sol and Rembrandt, and just quick match for Stu Grayson and Evil Uno to pick up a win here. This episode of Dark is going to kind of be a little Dark Order centric, and we're also going to be covering actually the special late night Dynamite that happened after the basketball playoff game on Tuesday, and then after the Inside the NBA. So all of Tuesday really had kind of a Dark Order theme to it, as we will continue to see. After this, Ricky Starks picks up a good win over Chris Daniels. I like this match. Great showcase for Ricky Starks. Always good to see a veteran like Christopher Daniels in the ring, considering he has more of a backstage role now. And just when you see good wins from talent over established veterans, that helps put that talent over. And Ricky Starks picking up this win. Christopher Daniels is still somebody, right? Even if he doesn't put on the outfit, the SCU outfit that often, just having him in the ring is always a treat. So when he is in the ring, people pay attention. After this, another way to get Ricky Starks over, or get any talent over, is to have him on the commentary table. And from this point on, for the rest of the episode of Dark, Ricky Starks joins the commentary table and has some great interactions with his mentor, Taz, as well as with Excalibur and Veda Scott. After this, we have Butcher and Blade with Eddie Kingston picking up a win over Calvin, Stewart, and Puff, who I had never really seen before. And that is a large man. That is the easiest way to put that. I was not expecting. I didn't realize that I didn't connect him and who was the best. Like when he came out a couple weeks ago as one of the potential best man for Kip Sabian, and I didn't connect the two. Yeah, good quick match here. That's the other thing where Dark is going to have I don't know what the name of their faction is, or I don't know what the name of their group is. I guess Kingston and Associates, we'll call it that. Kingston's Army. It's the easiest way to put it. But Butcher and Blade are going to pick up a win here. After this, the newly signed, congratulations again, Will Hobbs up against Serpentico. He is building momentum for the six-man match that's supposed to happen on Dynamite. Will Hobbs now starting to get wins in the wins column. Right before people were getting losses, the Dark enhancement talent, so to speak, and now he's reversing that trend. He's going in the opposite direction, and really good match here. Just quick, something easy for him to stack a win up, getting a win over Serpentico. Will Hobbs, I gotta say, just in general, has an amazing spine buster. The height that he can get people up is really, really cool. Continuing onwards, we have Kingston's Army again, Lucha Bros, up against Dante, Max, Star, and this match also good. Just quick though; these are quick hitters, like just 5.5 minute long matches. Just get in, get the win, get out. It kind of, in a sense, one thing that's kind of nice about Dark is it reinforces that notion of these guys are not paid by the hour, right? It's the concept of, in a weird way, it's reinforcing that idea that you only get paid for winning. You don't get paid for having a long match, right? Like no promoters is saying, hey, like Tony Khan, so to speak, is not saying, hey, here's an extra 10 grand or whatever because you went 10 minutes. He's still paying you the same rate. So if you get the job done in 5.5, that's 4.5 minutes of your life that you saved. So might as well pick up the quick win when you can. After this, we have Dark Orders 5 and 10 teaming up against Ryzen and Xander Gold. I liked one of the funniest things for me from this was Taz saying, "I don't trust anybody whose name starts with X," and Excalibur saying, "Well, there's an E in front of my name." That was a little fun moment. But again, more Dark Order reinforcing that trend or that Dark Order on the upswing that we've been seeing for some time. We're not getting Brody Lee on Dark because he's having a title match against Orange Cassidy on Dynamite, but we are getting the rest of the Dark Order to kind of just reinforce that, we are the Dark Order, Brody Lee is our leader. You don't necessarily need to have that person on Dark if you're going to have the underlings, so to speak, be on Dark for him, his representatives. After this, we have Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela picking up a win over, I forget the first guy, Blackwood and Daniel Garcia. Quick match here. I think this is going to be ahead of, Sonny Kiss and Janela. I don't know. I think we're supposed to have Miro in action. Maybe, I think it's Miro and Sabian versus Janela and Kiss. I don't know why that is in my head for some reason, but I think they're setting something up there. Also, that would just be really cool because of the Janela-Sabian connection. Anytime that can get referenced, I'm going to love it. After this, we have another tag match, which is the Gun Club versus Cruz and Badu. Another quick match here, just stacking a win for the Gun Club. More importantly, after this is Serena Deeb picking up a win against Kylan King, whereas last week, or I think maybe the week before, we were saying congratulations to Will Hobbs. This week, we are saying congratulations to Serena Deeb for securing a contract with All Elite Wrestling. And this is a good signing for the company, I think. She is very skilled and talented when it comes to training people. She may not be somebody who is going to have a run with the AEW Women's World Title. I highly doubt it. But she is somebody who will be training and working with the women who will be the AEW Women's World Champion, and that's equally as important. Sometimes the behind-the-scenes people are far more important than the people who are in front of the camera, because sometimes the people in front of the camera need the help from those behind the camera. Like, that's part of what Christopher Daniels does. It's part of what Billy Gunn does. So it's incredibly important. So good signing here. Quick match with Kylan King just to get her established with more people when it comes to AEW wrestling, All Elite Wrestling. Not too much else to say about that, but congratulations to Serena Deeb. You've come a long way from getting your head shaved by CM Punk as part of the Straight Edge Society. After this, we have the match of the night, arguably the match of Dark and Late Night Dynamite, if you are so inclined. Lee Johnson putting on a phenomenal match with Ben Carter. But really, you could say it's Ben Carter putting on a phenomenal match with Lee Johnson. And that's not just because throughout this match these two guys are going to mirror each other. It's because if this is the match of the night for Dark, the match of the night for Late Night Dynamite also includes Ben Carter. So I'll talk about that other match in a few moments, but this match, incredible. I highly recommend you guys, if you get a chance, watch this match. This is probably the match to watch from this episode of AEW Dark. By far. Phenomenal talent. I don't know if Ben Carter has a contract yet. That's the crazy thing about it. He's putting on these incredible matches. He was part of the Warrior Wrestling Stadium series that's going on, and I don't know if he's actually signed to an AEW contract. If he is not, they need to work that out immediately. That is somebody who, if they ever plan on building a cruiserweight or junior heavyweight division, or even if just having somebody who has incredible razzle-dazzle, like that's the easiest way to put it, Ben Carter is somebody who would fulfill all of those considerations and more. Definitely somebody who we want to pay attention to for the future. I want to see what he does here on Dark going forward if they continue to have him. Ben Carter picking up a very strong win. Lee Johnson looking phenomenal in this match as well. Everything that I'm saying about for Ben Carter takes nothing away from Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson has done some amazing things on Dark. I think Sid's working on an article for Sportskeeda for the standout people from Dark. I know I suggested Sean Dean to him, and I think he has Lee Johnson on his list. He had him on his list already. Lee Johnson, phenomenal job. After this, also a really good match. Our main event is Eddie Kingston versus Brian Pillman Jr. Eddie picking up a win. Gosh, I don't know what it is about Eddie Kingston that I like when it comes to the in-ring. I think it's just the presence. The presence, the persona, just everything. He is a complete wrestler. I think that's the best way to put it. He is a complete wrestler. He doesn't necessarily have the look, right? He's on the heavier side, but it's not a built heavy. He's not a Will Hobbs heavy, and he's not a Kevin Owens heavy where it's like the whole body. It's just like he kind of looks like a middle-aged dad who's got a paunch, and that's fine. But everything else, freaking amazing. His promo skills, top notch. Arguably, you could make an argument for saying that Eddie Kingston is in the top 5, maybe even top 3 of people who can cut a solid promo on AEW. You obviously have Jericho. You obviously have MJF. Cody's up there, and Eddie Kingston. And I'm just kind of spitballing here. I don't know who else I'm necessarily throwing in that top. Who's rounding out that top 5 moment. But like, you could swap Cody and Eddie Kingston, and I wouldn't be that mad. You could swap Eddie Kingston and MJF. I really wouldn't be that mad, even though MJF can knock some promos out when he just comes to work. but the other thing that's great about Eddie Kingston is that brawling style. He is a brawler's brawler. He knows every inch of the ring perfectly, how to hurt you in different corners, different aspects. And not only that, he's TV trained because he's been on different programs and different promotions for so long that he knows how to work with hard cam. He knows how to work with how to make sure if you're in a corner of the ring, how to make sure that the camera's going to be able to get that spot. And that's an underrated talent that a lot of people don't have. That's something that I think Jericho and Moxley have been working on, and Cody have been working on with some of the newer guys or some of the guys who are less experienced, and that's something that Eddie Kingston can also show them as well. So solid main event, and Brian Pillman Jr. is a star as well. Maybe he will also be signed once his MLW contract runs out. Who knows? We'll see. Now, turning quickly to Late Night Dynamite, we have 3 matches here, phenomenal matches. I'm going to start backwards. I'm going to start at the end and work forward and work backwards. I'm twisting up myself because of how good I personally thought the first match was. But the last match is Shawn Spears versus Matt Seidel. Nice to see Spears in the main event. Nice to see him pick up a win. I'm not sure 100% why they went with Shawn Spears, actually. I could have seen somebody else in this match, and I would have been fine. I mean, I'm personally a Shawn Spears guy, but I know that many people aren't, and many people don't really rank him that high, or as highly as I consider him when it comes to just a general good hand, despite the fact that they used that as a derogatory... He interpreted that as a derogatory insult during the Cody feud, but... it could have been somebody else to pick up the win over Seidel. Wouldn't have bothered me. The second match, even though we're working backwards because there's only 3 matches, guys, still works. The second match is Anna Jay picking up a win over Brandy. Now she really does deserve more of that Queen Slayer moniker because she's now had a match with Brandy and choked Brandy out again. And that's important, that's strong. A part of me thought maybe Brandy would pick up the win because it was bright lights of Late Night Dynamite. Like, this is the intent to get a lot of viewers coming out of the NBA game. And I thought maybe, Brandy Rhodes, it's got the Rhodes last name. She is well known and well tied to the company. I thought maybe they would give her the win. But I like that they're continuing the feud. They're keeping it going. And maybe that will tie into whenever, if ever, Cody returns. He's been off of TV for a month now, so I don't know when he's coming back, but when he does, I'm sure there's going to be something there with the Dark Order, Brody, and maybe a mixed match between Brody and Anna versus Cody and Brandy. We'll see. But Brandy getting choked out, good moment for Anna Jay. Finally, on AEW's Tuesday nights, we have my personal favorite. I think Sid in one of the chats said that he liked Lee Johnson versus Ben Carter more. This was my personal favorite. Ben Carter versus Scorpio Sky. Either way you go, Ben Carter's in the match. Whether you go with Lee Johnson, Ben Carter, Scorpio, Ben Carter. So Either way, it's just Ben Carter, MVP of the night. between all three shows we're going to cover, match of Tuesday, the Tuesday night match definitely goes to a match with Ben Carter in it. This match was amazingly phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed this match. Scorpio Sky, incredibly athletic, and Ben Carter is Ben Carter, putting on a great show. If you're not able to watch any other match, make sure you check out the Scorpio Sky Ben Carter match. This and then the Lee Johnson Ben Carter match as well. Let's turn to Impact. Turning to Impact, we have a pretty stacked episode of Impact. A lot of things to get through in these 2 hours of TV time, minus commercials. But let's start off really quickly with the match of the night that started off for Impact. Their match of the night was their very first match, which was Trey versus TJP versus Chris Bay to determine the number one contender for the Impact X Division Championship. Now, what I didn't realize, and maybe I just didn't hear them properly, I was grabbing my dinner at this point in time, but I didn't realize that the winner of the match was going to immediately face Rohit Raju. That's what I didn't realize. So when Trey won, I was like, okay, this is cool, and then all of a sudden Rohit's getting in the ring, and I'm like, oh shit, is he just going to hit him with the belt? No, he's actually getting ready to defend it. All right, cool. Not expecting that, and then just the really quick roll-up pin when I guess maybe it's a way to get Rohit Raju away from all three and move towards somebody else as a number one contender, because you can then say, Rohit can say, well, TJP shouldn't get a shot because Trey beat him and I beat Trey, or Chris Bay shouldn't get a shot because Trey beat him and I beat Trey. Either way, it can kind of clear the palette, so to speak, of the X Division Championship title picture scene, but a really great triple threat match. I really like how Impact has been starting off some of these matches. After this, we have a quick backstage segment with Tenille, and then we're moving onwards to Susie up against Kimberly with Deonna Purrazzo in her corner and Kylie Ray in the corner of Susie. Susie picks up the win here, just keeping things moving in the women's division. It's kind of a stand-in versus stand-in match, right? Like Susie's there representing Kylie, Kimber's representing Deonna. Is this a vision of events to be for foretelling events? We don't know yet. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can kind of see that maybe Kylie Ray is building that momentum through Susie, and she is coming after Deonna, and we know that for sure because after the match, Kylie Ray says, we're going to do this at Bound for Glory. That's when I want to use my number one contendership opportunity. That's when I want it. Bound for Glory. We're going to make this match. Deonna's not too thrilled, as you can imagine, but I think Kylie's going to get her way when it comes to when this match takes place. After this, we have a hilarious segment, Heath for Impact, extolling the virtues of Heath and why he needs to be part of Impact. And he's got kids, and he shows the kids, and that's amazing. But even more hilarious is the fact that I guess they took the money that they stole from Hernandez last week and used it to not only pay for the advertising time, but also for Cameo. Now here, what they did was they got, Chuck Norris, Flavor Flav, and David Hasselhoff. Not three people that I would have thought. I think there was somebody else. There was a woman. I forget her name. But all four of them, not people I thought that were going to be part of this amazing segment, especially not Chuck Norris of all people. But either way, it works in that sense, and it's just more of that comedy style of Heath as who he is, and good segment. Heath for Impact, of course. Let's get this man for sure on the roster. After this, there's a backstage segment where the Good Brothers are talking with Motor City Machine Guns, and the Rascals are there, and the Rascals are saying, we didn't need you to take our spot. We're not young boys. We are who we are, and they want to match with the Good Brothers to prove just that. I think we're going to be getting that next week. After this, we have a really good EC3 segment, continuing that control your narrative bit with him and Moose, and he puts Moose's real-life telephone number, from what I understand. I from what I saw on, I think it was the either Squared Circle Reddit or the Impact Wrestling subreddit, somebody actually called the number. I myself have not. I don't want to get Moose angry with me. He seems as though he's a little unhinged now that EC3 has stolen the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and I don't want him on my bad side, that's for sure. No, but I might actually give the phone number a call a little bit later in the week and see, just what exactly, because why are they putting that out there? Unless either it's some automated number or it is actually Moose's number. That would be hilarious. But if you want to call, it's 407-457-8494. I say that again. 407-457-8494. You call Moose and tell me how it goes. After this, we have a segment with Taya and Rosemary. This is kind of a really cool segment in the sense that we see a little bit of maturing from Taya Valkyrie, where Rosemary says, fine, I'll put my problems to the side to help you with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, then we'll solve my thing. And Taya says, no, we'll solve your thing first, because that's more important, because the wedding, and then we'll solve my thing. Beautiful, beautiful moment. Beautiful moment. We need more of these moments from Taya Valkyrie. Statistically, this is the first moment of maturity from Taya Valkyrie, and it's good to see. After this, we have Johnny Bravo talking to his potential groomsmen. Alicia Edwards is randomly there for a nice little comedy moment where she's like, I can't be a groomsman, I'm a girl. And after this, we have Brian Myers, who is walking around backstage. He's supposed to be getting interviewed of some sort. Gia's trying to get an interview from him. He kind of freaks out about or gets angry with what she's saying about Willie Mack, overturns the table. Tommy Dreamer comes up. They get into a little bit of a heated exchange. It's kind of reinforcing the notion of, obviously, Brian Myers saying he's the most professional wrestler in the world, but is actually not the most professional wrestler in the world. What professional is throwing a hissy fit and overturning tables in the back, and then when they're told that they need to clean it up because it's the right thing to do, says no, they're not going to do it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So just reinforcing the heel aspect of Myers' character, and it was well done. They, really highlighted some of the history between Myers and Tommy Dreamer and just Myers' history in general, and always good to just build that rapport and knowledge with your audience of who this person is. Really great job. That's one of the things Impact does well, is highlight the individual characters, and so people don't come across as just wrestler A, wrestler B, wrestler C. After this, 2 people who never have a problem with making sure that they stand out and are unique in the crowd. We have RVD and RVD and his girlfriend. And so this actually threw me because it didn't hit me until after I finished, like a day or so after I finished recording. I was like, wait a minute. Last week's episode, I said, they were supposed to have the whole effing talk show last week, and they didn't. And that seems a little weird to me. Why didn't that happen? And then this week, they suggested that Sami Callihan interrupted the show, and that's why we're having this match. But Sami Callihan couldn't have interrupted anything because they didn't air the segment. That's just weird because I just got finished praising Impact for how they handle their characters. But hey, you make mistakes, whatever the case may be. We'll roll with it. Yeah, a bit of a weird thing. This match is the stipulation, which makes 0 sense to me, is that if RVD beats Sami, then Katie Forbes gets 5 minutes in the ring with Sami Callihan. I don't know. That just seems weird. Your boyfriend or husband, I'm not sure if they're married, is not going to be able to beat this guy up to the point that he can't fight back. I don't know. Either way, we're going to see what happens, right? Because RVD picks up the win, then Sami Callihan has to deal with Katie Forbes for 5 minutes, and he is able to fight back. So, yeah, I was right. Anyway, after this, we have Ace and Madman Fulton arguing with the North. Like I kind of predicted last week, They both want to face Motor City Machine Guns for the tag team titles because they won the 8-man tag match. And so now they got to figure out between themselves who is going to get that title shot. So we're going to get Ace and Madman Fulton versus the North to figure out who's going to face Motor City Machine Guns. I have a feeling it's going to be the North. You know what? You know what would be really cool? If the North win, Ace Austin and Madman Fulton have issues because of this, and that leads to something between Ace and Madman Fulton, maybe at Bound for Glory. That would actually be kind of cool and an effective use of Ace and Madman Fulton in this overall storyline, because you can have Ace take the loss. Madman Fulton looks like the monster that he is. Ace can take the loss because he is that kind of heel, and he can still move forward regardless because of it. After this, we have our main event. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed something. I missed something actually very, 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 very important. I missed, before RVD and Sammy, that the Deaners came out for a match, and they could not get the match started because they're interrupted by Eric Young coming out and just laying into them and utterly destroying them. Scott D'Amore comes out. Scott is getting the business from EY as well and has to get saved by Eddie Edwards. And they say that at Victory Road, Eddie Edwards is going to get a title shot against Eric Young, because I don't think he actually got his rematch. Okay. I don't know why I forgot this segment. I think maybe part of the reason why I forgot this segment is because it was unbearably long. If they had cut 2 to 5 minutes from this segment, would have gone on a lot better. Eric Young spent way too much time beating up the Deaners and just putting them in submission holds for their legs, try to break their legs, and it just got uncomfortably long because it's like, why is nobody coming out here to help these guys? Not a referee, not security, not anybody else from the back. When something happened to Rich Swann, people came out of nowhere. When things were happening to Alicia Edwards, Tommy Dreamer came out. You're telling me the Deaners have no friends? Damn, that sucks for the Deaners. Holy smokes, it sucks for them. Nobody gives a crap about them, and that's horrible. What is that? Is absolutely horrible. I feel horrible for them. But if that had been cut short by maybe 2 to 5 more minutes, maybe I wouldn't feel that horrible for them. Maybe that's the reason why they did it. But either way, it just was okay, yeah, he's better than Jake and Cody. He's still better than Jake and Cody. He's still better than Jake and Cody. They can't fight back. He's still better than Jake and Cody. Can he stop putting them in this leg lock? It kind of just, it was okay, we get the point. Anyway, so now jumping back to where we were before, we have our main event, which is Tenille Dashwood versus Jordan Grace. Really good match. Probably the second best match of the night for me. Tenille picking up a strong win against Jordan Grace, former Knockouts champion that she is beating, and really good match because it's positioning it's positioning Tenille at the upper echelon of the women's division. She's somewhere above Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz, Susie, Havoc, Nevaeh. She's above them, but she's not quite Deanna and Kylie, right? That's kind of the indication. And so that's strong. They have a strong 4-women group there with Kylie, Deanna, Jordan, and Tenille that they can kind of build around and build out different matches and different feuds as we progress throughout our calendar year with Impact. And after this, we finally have the return of Stingers, the post-Impact credit Stingers, which is why I remembered that I forgot the earlier stuff, which were showing Eddie Edwards leaving the building and he gets attacked and gets laid out. All right, guys, we are going to now move on to NWA on the UWN Primetime Live, Episode 2. Okay, so this episode, not as cohesive as the first episode. I think they definitely knew what they were doing. They had plenty of time to plan that out. This episode, a little bit more fly on the wallish, so to speak. And I don't know, it suffered a bit to me for that. But it started off strong. It started off with a series of quick promos by the people who are having matches. So we had good stuff from Eli Drake. We had stuff from not Martinson. Excuse me. We had stuff from Priscilla Kelly, Donderosa, and after that we jumped straight into Martinson versus Limelight. This was a quick match. I didn't get a chance to jot down a lot of the match times except for the main event because I was like, wow, this is going long. And also I was looking at the time for seeing when the show might end. But Martinson Limelight, I like the music and the gimmick, the electric kind of aspect of Martinson picking up the win. After this, we had a really good Haas match, just big guy match between Eli Drake and Watts. Eli Drake getting his first return match in a long time since the pandemic started, picking up a win over Watts. Really competitive match. What I liked about it was they highlighted that both of them are veterans, but that Eli Drake is just that much more of a veteran, that he knows more how to dig deep. He knows he's been in more, because he's had a little bit more of a well-known career. He has been in matches against bigger and better opponents compared to Watts. It's a different kind of veteran. It's a different kind of experience, right? Like, what's a good way to explain it? There's a difference between being on even Impact, because that's mainly where Eli Drake has been, and fighting people like EC3, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Bully Ray, and the people that Eli Drake has been up against, James Storm, and somebody like Watts, who has mainly been more on the independent scene. And that's kind of like, you have years, but it's not the same kind of years, if that makes more sense. And so Eli Drake is able to, despite the fact that he's getting ragdolled throughout this entire match, and Watts looks amazing because of it, Eli Drake is able to capitalize off of one mistake that Watts makes, one ability that Eli Drake uses to reverse it, hits Gravy Train 1, 2, 3, even though he's getting dominated throughout the match. I really like the story of the match, and it's one of the two matches that I suggest you guys get a chance to watch. After this, we have the Money Bros versus Family Farm or Friendly Farm? The Family Farm, yeah. Jervis Cottonbelly and Robin Shaw. And pretty good match. Nothing crazy to write home about here. Just kind of a standard tag match. I like the idea of the Real Money Brothers. I like the gimmick. I like the characters. After this, we have a strong Chris Dickinson promo that is continuing that trend of Dickinson. They're kind of slowly starting to build him up to be the person who is going to be facing all this down the road for that world title. Strong work for Dickinson there. After this, we have we have New Japan Pro Wrestling's Carl Fredericks versus our very own Chris Gutierrez. I did not realize that Chris was booked on this week's episode of Primetime Live under the name of Slice Boogie. But if you know anything about our Joints and Jabronis host, our Wednesday Night Warrior, one of our Wednesday Night Warriors, Chris G, you know that he is Queens and New York sports teams till he dies. He is a big Jets fan. He is a big Mets fan. But here, most importantly, he is a big Knicks fan. And Slice Boogie came out in full Knicks regalia, and it just reminded me of Chris a lot. If you watch those shows and you watch this episode, maybe you'll see why I brought it up to him, and he said that he was supposed to keep this quiet. So, guys, don't tell anybody, even though I'm saying this on a channel that will be on YouTube forever and ever until Google shuts down YouTube, which will probably never happen. But anyway, Carl Fredericks, phenomenal talent. Slice Boogie, nothing to sneeze at. Really good match here. Carl Fredericks picks up a gutsy win. He is somebody who I think New Japan is building around for the United States at JPW US. Good talent, trained by Shibata. Strong in the ring. I think he's developing more and more of a personality. More and more like he doesn't have to wear the black trunks anymore. So just good work there for Carl Fredericks. Slice Boogie, I hope they keep using him with UWN. We're seeing, because we don't know exactly what the roster is, so I don't know, like, somebody who's here this week, will they be here next week or later down the road? I really hope he is. He's a good talent there. I like that his finishers, what Statue of Misery and the Deadass Driver. I think Private Party would love to talk to him about that name. That would be hilarious. And after this, we have a Aaron Stevens promo for next week. He's going to be facing Trevor Murdoch for the third degree NWA national title. And finally, in our main event and the match of the night for NWA UWN Primetime Live, Episode 2, we have Donderosa versus Priscilla Kelly. Now, I'm a big Donderosa mark. I'll freely admit that. A great match, though. Just being completely objective, really great match. Priscilla Kelly is a talent in the ring. She has been more famous for the shock value stuff that she has done, but she is still an amazing talent in the ring. This match goes about 22 minutes long because I was like, wow, they still have a lot of time left for when they're starting this main event. And just incredible work from both of these two women. Strong example of what women's wrestling can be. Donderosa toughs out a really hard-won win. You know that the NWA title means something to her because of this match, because of the matches that she puts on, and excited to see where they go with Donderosa down the road with the NWA Women's title. I mean, before the pandemic hit, it seemed as though Camille was going to run through Allison Kay, and then she was going to square off against Donderosa. Whether that is still the storyline or still the intent, I'm not sure. I know next week on the third episode they're planning on having Allison Kay in action. I don't know if they're going to be setting up something, as we progress with Camille and Allison Kay, or if they're just going to jump straight to Camille versus Donderosa. We'll see. But either way, that match is going to be phenomenal when it does happen. Camille, while she is green in the ring, she has raw power, and Rosa is somebody who can work with that very well. I'm pretty sure I am repeating things that I said way back when I think it was Superpower aired, and we were talking about Camille versus Donderosa then. Rosa is a good enough hand in the ring for somebody who's only been wrestling for, I think they said 5 years, to get a really good match out of Camille. Her ability to sell, her ability to work a crowd, really good. That is one thing I will say about Rosa and Kelly. They were kind of playing to a crowd that wasn't there, and I think sometimes still with the pandemic, even though it has been about 6-8 months of this pandemic, and it feels like 3 years. Sometimes talent get so in their head about what they've been trained to do and what they're used to doing to get a crowd reaction that sometimes they can forget there's no crowd here. There's nothing for me to play to. There's nobody for me to feed off of the emotion. Dustin Rhodes is somebody famous for doing that slapping the mat thing to get the crowd going. And if there's nobody there, what is that really doing for you? But either way, good work. Solid main event. Interested in seeing where they're going next week. I think Allison Kay is in action. Aaron Stevens up against Trevor Murdoch. And just good work again from the second episode. I think this one, it didn't have as cohesive of a storyline throughout the episode, which is important. But at the same time, it was just more good overall television to build up that NWA brand and the UWN brand, and to show us what they are going to be and what they're going to present us. So we'll see what they do, guys. And when they do that, we will be right there with you every step of the way, as we always are. Remember to stay safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, all that good stuff. Take care of yourself, take care of your families. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you.